everyone, welcome back to my channel, Ashley Empowers. I'm Ashley Brown, and today you're tuned in to another episode of Dating with Purpose. So many of you know on this series, Dating with Purpose, I love to interview couples who are currently or who have dated with purpose in the past. And today I'm so excited to interview ShySpeaks and her husband, Steven Powell, as they share their story of being newlyweds and how God brought them together. So welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you guys are here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes. So I'm really excited that I got to connect with you and just to kind of let viewers know how this all happened. Yesterday, we were at the gender reveal party and I overheard Steven talking to my husband Carrington about his journey of being single, and there were some things that I heard in your story that really intrigued me and that I know will connect with a lot of my viewers. And I was like, I had to interview you guys, so I'm so excited that you were able to be here with such short notice. So we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. So you guys have been married, and when did you get married?
We got married November 19th, 2016.
Okay.
So just 3 short months ago.
3 short months ago.
4 now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, going on 4 months. So can you kind of just, Steven, let's start off with you. Can you start off by just sharing a little bit of your story leading up to meeting Shy?
My story consists of just being a patient man, just waiting for God to just send me someone beautiful as she, and I was just being patient and just waiting and asking the Lord to just send me someone that's gonna love me and accept me for me, and not having to just endure the stress of trying to find different women and trying to find myself. And I just knew that I can be myself and just wait on God.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because a lot of women that I speak to, they're the ones in the waiting position. So you're saying that you were waiting on God. Did you date before Shy, or did you have a lot of experiences with different women?
No, I didn't date, but I did talk to some women on the phone. But it never went nowhere because it would always lead to like a lustful talk, and then I would know that that she's not for me, and I was looking for something internally that I know God had for me.
Okay. So Shy was the first date for you.
Yes.
Okay. So that's awesome. So what kept you so patient? Like, did you ever have any moments of being single, like, okay, God, where is she? Or was it really just kind of a laid back journey and boom, they're Shy?
Well, I felt alone a lot of times because the guys that I be with, they have their girlfriend.
Okay.
I just see different, couples, and I'll be like, man, where mine at?
Okay.
So I just be, so I will feel that type of way, and then I'll be like, Lord, where mine at? I'm like, I want somebody that I can love on and I can hold and cherish and stuff like that. I'm just a loving guy.
Yeah.
So God knows my heart, so He just know, like He didn't put anybody that will interrupt that or try to curve me or any
right,
type
or
of way.
to tempt you.
Yeah, tempt me or any type of way. So yeah, I did wait. I did feel like, oh, when is she coming?
Yeah.
Impatient but patient. But I knew in the end God would have somebody for me.
Yes. And Shy, before we get into your story, because we're definitely going to get into yours, but Steven, yesterday when you were talking to my husband, I picked up on one part of the conversation where you mentioned to him that you bought yourself a purity ring. Can you tell us that? Because I was so interested in knowing what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, with the purity ring, it was just I knew that I wanted to wait So, and I made that decision around like 16 when I was playing ball and all this type of stuff. And I just knew like how strong I could be in my mind when I put my mind to it. So, I just decided to go to the Christian bookstore and I saw a ring. I was just looking at rings and then it said purity rings. So I was like, well, I might as well I just want to put a ring on my finger. And,
Okay.
so some of my friends was like, well, that's going to scare women away. I was like, well, the right one to notice what it is.
Okay.
So that's how I felt. So when I put it on, I just prayed over it and I just asked the Lord to let the right woman notice what this is really for and let it draw her to me, and it did.
Awesome. So Shy, now when you met Steven, did you notice he was wearing a purity ring?
Not right off the bat. I didn't notice at first. Because when we met playing basketball, so I'm not sure if he wore his ring that day to play basketball.
It was on.
Okay.
It was on.
Okay. So you weren't paying attention.
No, I
Okay.
wasn't paying attention. And I played basketball with him a couple times, but I just wasn't. First of all, I wasn't out here looking like, let me find every guy I'm not looking at as a prospect. So
Okay.
I really genuinely could just hang around a guy and not really think about that. But I eventually did notice it.
Okay.
And when I noticed it, I was like, okay, so either that's a purity ring or he's married. So
Okay.
I didn't ask, is that a purity ring? I said, are you married? So are you married?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, this is like what you have on your hand. This is a purity ring.
So you had one on too?
I still have one on. Come on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I still.
So you noticed that her purity ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But hers was on her right hand.
Okay.
And mine was on my ring finger, so that's why she thought it was. So
Gotcha.
I made it more. I mean, I had it. At first, I did have it on my right hand, but I was like, it'll mean more to me to have it on my ring finger because
Gotcha.
it'll mean I'm married to God. To God marry me to someone.
Yes. So when you said, okay, he said, I have on what you have on. What happened from there?
I did what I just did now. Like, oh, okay. Well, so then that let me know two things. Number one, it wasn't a wedding band. It was a purity ring.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, that he had been observing me in a way that I had been a little bit oblivious, I guess.
Okay.
I wasn't
So you guys just kind of started off as friends,
Yeah,
playing basketball, kicking it. Okay.
just friends kicking it. And so even though we were kicking it, that let me know he was kind of peeping me out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, okay, he's noticed my ring. Number two, if he's wearing a purity ring, then that means he has some level of spiritual discipline and some morals that are important to me in a man. And so then that prompted me to ask him, well, so how long have you had your ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long had you had your ring?
I had it 4 years.
Okay.
But before that, I already made it, and then I just so happened got a ring to just make it more, I guess, seem more official.
Okay. So meaning that you have been like pure your whole life?
And then just got a ring to just make it known, like,
okay.
So I won't have to say it.
Okay.
I guess getting a purity ring would like let people know, like so if the question came up, I can answer like, no, this is my purity ring.
Okay.
And then like that will draw other questions that I can answer.
Got you. So just to ask you just kind of bluntly, so you were a virgin when you met Shy?
Yes.
Okay. So now Shy, let's talk about you. So you have your purity ring on. So were you on the same track your entire life like Steven?
Yeah. So I was on the track my entire life. I got off of the track for like a year or so.
Yeah.
And then I got back on track.
Awesome.
And I was like, and so then I got the purity ring, and I've made a decision to be abstinent since then. And so
awesome.
Yeah. So
that's so beautiful. And now I'm just curious because I personally didn't grow up in a atmosphere where purity was taught. So, Steven, you said at 16 you made the decision, something to do with basketball. Was that something like, did you go to like a camp, or were you at a program, or was this just a personal decision you made?
Well, I know I stayed in church a lot.
Okay.
And I read the Bible. My mom like made us read the Bible a lot.
Yeah.
So I was conscious of like what the Bible was saying, and to wait to get married. And one thing that I was scared of was fornication. And so that was one thing that scared me, and so I never wanted to like mess that up with God, mess that connection up with God.
Wow.
And then the one thing is, it said when you sin against the body, and I didn't want to like mess that up.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. So how old were you when you got married?
27.
Or
27.
27.
He was 26.
No, I'm
26 when you got married.
Yeah.
So you went 26 years without the drama of STDs, unplanned pregnancies. You bypassed all of that.
Yeah, I had the Heisman, all that.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So, and Shy, with you said you were on the track and had a point where you got off but got back on. What encouraged you to get back on track? Because sometimes people make the mistake and they're just like, oh, let me repent, but they kind of stay in that cycle. What helped you get back on track?
That's a really great question. For me, it was more like I felt that I grew up in church as well, like Steven, so I kind of grew up in an environment where you hear it talked about. It wasn't really like, branded into me.
Yeah.
I had some great mentors and some of my aunties that they were like made it this pact with their friends to abstain, but for me it was more like, okay, I want to have a pact as well, and I don't have friends to do it with. But once I felt that I got off the track, I rededicated my life to the Lord, and I know that there's a difference in like saying I accept God as my Savior, and then understanding that I accept God as Lord over my life, which means that Lord has rulership. They get to kind of dictate and determine what happens in your life.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, okay, well, I just kind of, when I rededicate my life to the Lord, I want to live my life. I want to give you my life, my mind, my body, my everything. And so all of that kind of came with the package for me. And I just asked God to give me the discipline to be able to abstain.
Awesome.
Just renew mine. Really.
Yeah. That's awesome. So just a couple more questions before we wrap up. So you guys ended up meeting, becoming friends, playing basketball. And Steven, you said, you weren't pursuing women. You were being patient. You weren't dating. So Shy was your first date. Why Shy? What was different about her?
I just seen the Spirit of the Lord over her. And I knew like God just sent her to me for a reason, because I knew in this time I wasn't looking. I knew I wasn't looking. So I knew when the pastor said, you two need to meet, you two need to talk, I felt like that was God telling me like, this is one that you need to grab hold to. So
how long was your courting experience, or before you got engaged and married? Was it what was kind of like the time frame?
The time frame was about
so we met May 2015.
Okay.
We got married November 2016. So
okay, so a little over a year.
Yeah, so it was like a little.
Okay. And so Shy, how did you know Steven was the one?
For me, I wasn't as deep as him. I didn't know that the Spirit of the Lord was upon him. I didn't know. No, seriously, I just felt that he had like some characteristics that were important to me. Number one, kind of going back to the purity ring and being a virgin at 26, being as tall and as handsome as he is. I'm like, I know that there have been plenty of opportunities to break that covenant that he originally made. And so I saw discipline. I saw that he was like family oriented. I saw that he was he just had a lot of great characteristics that meant something to me.
Awesome.
And so that allowed me to feel like he might be
okay. And so I know that there's a little bit of an age difference. So Shy, so I think it's what, like you said, When I talk 4-year age difference. So did you feel some type of way dating someone who was younger than you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, I did. I was like, well, first of all, I didn't know how old he was at first because kind of going back to the beginning of our story, we were just friends hanging out playing basketball. I don't need to know all the guys at the gym's age.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
So with him just being a friend that I played basketball with, I did not know. By the time he began to express his interest in me, and then I became interested back, by then I was already interested.
Mhm.
Once I found out his age, and when he told me how old he was, I was like, wait, I don't know about this.
Okay.
Wait a minute, let's reel this in. And so, but I didn't make a big deal of it. That was like in my mind for a moment, like literally for a moment.
Okay.
I really initially, like, I shut it down because I realized that if his age was a factor
Mm-hmm.
in determining his immaturity, I would have noticed before now.
Yeah.
Why am I interested? Apparently, he has been able to pique my interest. He's been able to establish those disciplines and some of the things that I would find necessary in a man.
Yeah.
Without being way older than me. And so I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I was like, but then after that, I kind of.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your story. And one of the key things that stands out to me about both of you guys is the fact that prior to meeting one another, you were both in a place of patience and doing you. So, like Steven, you said, I wasn't out here chasing women. I was minding my own business. And you knew that God revealed who he had for you. And Shy, like you said, you weren't looking for prospects. Like you were just met a new friend playing basketball with. So I think it's really great that you both were in a position of security being single. And I understand like people have their lonely times, like you said, you experienced that, but it's really awesome to see the ease, it seems, of how God brought you together, and then how courting and dating, engagement, married, a year and a little bit of time, y'all are the pals. So yes,
It's true.
so the last thing, can you guys just really quickly, like 15 seconds, just kind of give maybe one tip for people who are single, but they're not in a place of patience. Like they want to get married. They're kind of just anxious.
Right.
One thing I would say is when you're anxious and things don't come like you want them when you're anxious. You just get bad experience. Mm-hmm. When you stay patient and you just trust God and everything. I mean, literally everything. God will give you the desires of your heart.
Mm. Awesome.
I want to speak to the ladies on it as far as a tip for that. One of the most important things for me, it was to realize that the standards that I was upholding as a woman of God, like these were godly standards. Mm-hmm. So if any guy was rejecting me, so if a guy continues to reject you, that's kind of keeping you in your single season longer. Well, if another guy rejecting me, single a little bit longer. Well, if he's rejecting me, mm-hmm. and he's rejecting my godly standards, he's really just rejecting God. He's not really rejecting me because these are his standards that I am upholding. Mm-hmm. And so I would like to encourage women with that. Like if you're being rejected, I believe the scripture is Luke chapter 6 verse 22. And it says, blessed are you when people hate you for the Son's namesake. Wow. So this is for God's glory. There's a blessing in being hated and ridiculed and excluded because of a godly standard or because of the name of the Lord. So just realize that if he's rejecting the godly standard, he's not rejecting you, he's rejecting God in that moment. And until he's ready to embrace that, then there's nothing you can do. Continue to uphold your standard.
Awesome. Yeah, be confident. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And Shy, I know that you're a performer, poet, rapper, speaker, everything. Where can people hear some of your work or find out what you're going to be up to?
The best place to check me out is always www.ShySpeaks.com. And of course, I try to keep pretty active on social media. Everything is at ShySpeaks, and that's ShySpeaks. So
Awesome.
at ShySpeaks and ShySpeaks.com.
Awesome. And are you on social media, Steven? No? Okay. All right. Well, you guys heard it. You can contact ShySpeaks and check out some of her work on ShySpeaks.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If this video encouraged you, please share this with someone. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button so you know every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching.